Hello and welcome back to more Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. Oh my gosh, hello.
What are we doing, Holmes?
We're about to do some weird stuff with some pig heads. That's what we're about to do.
Holmes, will you explain the reason and rhyme behind this masquerade?
Elementary. We shall conduct an experiment that will allow us to answer a simple question. Does the type of weapon used by the killer correspond to a specific profession?
Okay.
And here are our sow's heads. Congratulations, Watson.
You're welcome, Holmes, but what do you really want to do? Take up a collection?
Watson, please tell me that was a joke, Watson. Oh, I'm sorry. The audio, like... There it goes again. Why does the audio...
What do you think, Holmes?
The ambience, for some reason, disappears. Random intervals in this room.
There is nothing further to find in this room, Watson. However, I need some knives. Our only hope is behind this door.
You didn't bring them with you?
There is nothing further to find in this room.
Okay, well...
This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding.
I was like, why don't we open it then?
This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding.
The audio cutting out is really weirding me out. Oh, shit. Oh. Okay.
This wheel is broken and prevents the door from sliding. There, this door is slightly raised.
Oh, now we can move it?
There is nothing further to find in this room. There is nothing further to find. I need something.
Oh, we're replacing the wheel? Oh, duh, shit.
Elementary.
Cool.
While I prepare our experiment, could you find me 2 knives? A small one, somewhat larger than a pocket knife, with a large, sharp blade. We'll need it to separate the bones and to cut through the thick skins. Then find me a long knife that's at least 13 inches long, no shorter, that's sharp and has a thick blade.
Fine, Holmes, but I'd like to tell you about Hardiman. Do you know that he prepares his kebabs himself, and...
That he owns butcher's tools and uses offal? That's obvious, Watson. Pray, take my magnifying glass and my rule and get started, Watson. Find me these 2 knives.
So he knows how creepy he is and how he suffered a recent trauma. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. That just kind of came out of nowhere. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. What is he? Oh, oops. Didn't mean to.
No, Holmes only needs 2 knives.
I hate... What?
Thanks to the magnifying glass, I can find a small knife that matches Holmes's description.
What was the description again?
With the rule, I must find a large knife.
Ouch.
Size, 13 inches.
What did he say he wanted again? 2 knives. Small one, somewhat larger than a pocket knife. Large, sharp blade. 13 inches long, no shorter. Thick blade.
No, Holmes only...
Okay, put the other 2 back then. I want that one. That one's large. And then small. Here's your small pocket knife blade.
Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
Fucking just pick them out yourself. Thick blade. Then maybe he wants this one. This is a thicker blade.
Here are your knives, Holmes.
No, Watson.
Fucking dick! He wanted a 13-inch long one.
Size? 13 inches.
Yes, that one is 13 inches. This one is not.
Size? 11 inches.
So, this one is 100% right. And then we want one that's small, thick, like a pocket knife. Maybe this. Maybe that. Actually, I think that's it. Okay.
Here are the knives you asked for. Be careful, they're awfully sharp. Holmes, I must say that this experiment is making me rather
Same.
uneasy. Comparing animal heads to these poor women.
You're right, Watson, but this somewhat shocking experiment may help to end this massacre and save other victims, you can be sure of that. Look, these pigs' heads are still bloody, which will suit our experiment perfectly. I have a pocket knife and a scalpel with me. With the 2 knives you just brought me, we have a similar array of weapons as those probably used by the killer. We saw 3 types of throat wounds on the deceased attributed to this man, those intended to slit the throat, those intended to decapitate, and the more superficial yet mortal wound that led to the death of the unfortunate victim in Dutfield's yard, Miss Stride. With the help of these 4 knives, we are going to try to recreate these wounds on the pigs' heads and see what we can establish about the weapon or weapons used. We may also be able to rule out Miss Stride as a victim of the killer of the other 3.
Oh. That's what he's trying to do. And we lost the texture on the door. That's happening quite a few times, isn't it? Okay. Experiment 1. Select the right knife or knives.
Let's try to use these weapons on this head to obtain a large deep wound to the throat, like those that were noted on 3 of the 4 victims.
Oh. Oh. Reset. Reset? Thank you. Alright, let's grab this guy and, okay. It's similar.
This little knife is very sharp and has a very wide blade.
Okay. That's very thin.
This pocket knife is very sharp, but its blade is too thin.
Scalpel's gonna be way too thin. Yeah.
The wound is too shallow.
Is that looks
Look,
right.
Watson, this knife easily penetrates the flesh. Let's try to decapitate our victim with these tools, knowing that the killer didn't quite manage to do it.
Charming.
Look, Watson, this little knife with a wide base can easily slice the vertebrae of our porcine friend. The blade of this pocket knife is too thin to reach the vertebrae. With a scalpel, the wound is too shallow. This knife with a long blade easily slices the flesh, but cannot dislocate the vertebrae.
I don't know which one of those was the yes one too. Same with this one, honestly.
Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation where a single quick blow is given. The scenario in question is that of Dutfield's yard.
So this is the one where it's possibly done by someone else?
Look, Watson, the blade sinks easily into the flesh. In using the cutting edge of this pocket knife's blade, I can scrape the skin. This particularly sharp blade can make a deep gash with one quick slice.
Okay, like, is all of them okay or something?
It cuts through the flesh easily as the blade is so sharp.
Identify the crime weapon or weapons. It's probably this one. Oh, I didn't get these right, have I?
Let's try to use these weapons.
Okay, okay.
Elementary.
Okay, so we got that one right.
Let's try to decapitate our...
Charming.
Okay, yeah, I know, it's very charming.
Elementary.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay.
Let's see if these knives can inflict a mortal wound in a situation where a single quick blow is given.
Wasn't it like, it was like all of them, I thought.
Elementary.
Okay. Crime scene weapon or weapons. So definitely this
That's it,
one.
Watson. The big knife. With respect to the opinion of the medical examiners who noted that a butcher's knife with a long blade would have caused the eviscerations on some of the victims, we can assume, Watson, that he only used this type of weapon as it is capable of inflicting all of the wounds displayed. Furthermore, the Dutfield's Yard murder remains attributable, for the moment, to the Whitechapel killer, if we are able to explain why the murderer used his knife in a different manner. Why not go there now? We will try to reenact the killer's actions that night.
It's a little
Our
weird that he
first
killed
objective
two
will be to
people, though.
clarify, one way or another, the statements of Constable Smith, as well as this Hungarian by the name of Schwartz. We must also try to find out more about the International Working Men's Educational Club, underneath which the murder took place, perhaps at the Wasp's Nest.
Yes, let's go to Dutfield's Yard or wherever, but quickly. I am in urgent need of fresh air.
Watson,
Let's go to the
you
Wasp's
are the
Nest.
best. Okay, let's go. Really though, Watson is absolutely the best character. What? Wait, where did he say we were going? I thought we were going to the police station, but maybe we're supposed to go to the Wasp's Nest? He literally just said it. Shit. Let's try the police station.
I have no reason to go that way.
Okay, it's the Wasp's Nest. It's the Wasp's Nest.
Don't forget that Bluto may still be hiding here. I will try to find out more inside. You, Watson, must intercept the policeman on his rounds. Given the hour and a bit of luck, it will be Smith. Try to get some information from him.
Understood, Holmes.
A draft, my good man.
Here, sir.
Tell me, was it not a mere stone's throw away from here that the Whitechapel killer struck last week?
That'd be Jack the Ripper, that's his name. Slit the throat of a working girl in a small courtyard over there behind them big wooden doors.
Below the Workers' Club?
The very spot, below Lipsky and Co. I wouldn't be surprised if Jack was one of them, if you catch my drift.
He thinks he's one of the...
Lipsky and Company. Do you mean to say that someone called Lipsky runs this club?
Nah, it's just that it's full of Jews. In Whitechapel, we call them all Lipskys, like that Lipsky who killed that girl in Batty Street last year.
Oh, really?
Last year, a Jew
Really?
named Israel Lipsky killed a lass who was 6 months pregnant by making her drink acid. One trial and one protest by rabbis later, and he was hanging. By those who don't much like him, the Jews are called Lipskys.
Is the term Lipskys used to refer to the Jews in the area, and is this club frequented by Jews?
You got it. Socialist Jews even. They spend their evenings hollering, singing. I've seen them spitting on the bosses.
Socialist Jews.
And you know the victim?
No more her than any other. The working girls don't drum up business too much in this street. They need a reason to end up here.
I'm a fan of socialist Jews.
Very well. Goodbye.
Cheers.
I really am. Oh my god.
If you're looking for some company, Gov, you've come to the wrong place. Me, I'm just here to pour. I don't care who you is, I knows nothing, and I don't care neither.
Okay.
Hello.
I know you. You're Squibby's guardian angel. You weren't dressed the same last time, but I don't forget a face. No hard feelings, eh? Join me in a glass?
Your Jack the Ripper is on everyone's lips and written in all of the papers. You must be awfully proud of yourself. You have skill, that's for certain. It's a shame you use it to mask rather than discover the truth.
You better believe that I'm going to find out who it is. I got a hold of old Schwartz's interpreter. You know, the Hungarian who saw Liz Stride get it. Doesn't speak a word of English. And when he went round to the station, another Jew went along to interpret. I found that bloke, and he repeated everything that had been said at the station. It won't be long before I find these fellows.
Many people?
Why do you say these fellows? Were there several of them?
Do you not read the papers, or what? Well, given the rubbish that you read sometimes, let me explain. At 12:45 a.m., Schwartz goes down Burner Street towards Fairclough, on the side of the road where the Workers' Club is. A bit further from there, just near Dutfield Yard's wooden doors, a chap and a lady are arguing. The Star said that the bloke wanted to push the girl into Dutfield's yard, but the translator told me that Schwartz saw him pulling her towards the road. She doesn't want to follow. He grabs her by the shoulders and throws her to the ground. She falls. Bawls a bit, but not too loudly. Old Schwartz is scared, crosses to the other side, but continues in the same direction. The bloke with the girl notices him and yells, "Lipsky!" At the same time, another bloke at the corner of Fairclough and Burner who was lighting his pipe gets in on the action. He starts coming towards Schwartz in a menacing way, and Schwartz takes to his heels, doesn't see anything else. Once he finds out that a woman got herself killed, he went to testify, and identified Long Liz Stride as the woman he saw getting thrown about. So there were definitely two blokes, mate. But why am I telling you all this?
In vino veritas.
I have no idea what in vino verdes.
I'll take my leave then, Mr.
I don't
Bullet.
know what that
That's
is.
right. Till next time.
We got a lot of info though.
First and foremost, I must
That
find
was the
PC
cutscene we
Smith.
saw. PC Smith? Hello, are you PC Smith?
Good evening, Constable.
Good evening, sir.
I am Dr. Watson. Would you happen to be PC Smith, the man who patrols this beat?
That's me. And you work with the famous Sherlock Holmes, don't you? What can I do for you?
I believe you were on duty the night when the murder took place here. You would certainly be able to confirm a few details, such as the time of death that the medical examiner gave.
Certainly
It's
not
just
probably.
that I wasn't there when the body was discovered. I don't think I can help you.
But I was told that you had seen the victim that very night.
Indeed. But it was before the murder. I saw her, not far from here. She was talking to a man. It was around 12:30 or 12:35 a.m.
A man?
What did this man look like?
I only saw him from behind, really. He was wearing a short black outfit, a small felt hat like a cap in a dark colour, and a white collar. He seemed to be a respectable type. He was carrying a packet in his hand wrapped in newspaper, about 18 inches long and about 6 inches wide.
His outfit reminds me of someone that I know. Was he a large man, on the older side?
I don't think so, no. Even though I only saw him from behind, I would say that he was barely 30 years old, or even less. Say 28, or even less. 26 years old, and 5 foot 8 inches tall at the very most. He had a small dark brown moustache and an olive complexion, I would say, but once again, I only caught a brief glimpse of his face in 3/4 profile.
Nobody else saw this man?
I discussed this previously with Mr. Eagle, the president of the Workers' Club. That night he returned around 12:40 a.m. to the club. He used the passage through Dutfield's yard to get into the club because the main door was locked. He can attest that he didn't see anyone else in the passage at that time, but wasn't really paying attention to who else might have been in Burner Street itself. He was listening to the song coming from the club. In short, no one else saw him.
Well, thank you for having satisfied my curiosity, my friend.
A fine evening to you, Doctor.
What a nice policeman. October 7th.
Well, Watson, let's go to Dutfield's yard.
The ooh, I think I need to look at my map for that. Dutfield Yard. I think we have to.
Dutfield's Yard.
Oh! Oh! Oh my god! Oh my gosh! It was like 5 feet away! Oh! Jeez!
Your interrogation of P.C. Smith has proven to be very shrewd and of great interest. Thanks to the information I've managed to gather and that you were able to read in my notes in Baker Street, Watson, we can recreate what happened that fateful night at this location, Dutfield's Yards to be precise, the site of Liz Stride's murder.
Okay. Midnight. The club meeting ends. Alright. Midnight.
Midnight,
Right
the
there.
Socialist Club meeting ends. The members, mainly Jewish men, gradually begin to leave the club in little groups or alone.
12:20 a.m. The American goes out for some air. No one is in the street. What's an American doing in a socialist club? I don't believe it.
12:20 a.m. The American leaves the Socialists Club for some fresh air. The street is deserted.
12:30 to 12. Maybe Americans weren't so anti-socialist during this time period. 12:30 to 12:35 a.m. P.C. Smith sees Liz Stride speaking to the man with the packet. 12:30. 12:30.
12:30 to 12:35 a.m. Smith notices Liz Stride talking to the man with the package.
Mr. Eagle at 12:40. The president of the Workers' Club enters the club by passage at Dutchfield's Yard.
12:40 a.m. Eagle, the president of the club, enters the Workers' Club via the passageway through Dutfield's Yard. He passed through Dutfield's Yard. If Liz Stride had already been killed, he would have had to walk over her. The murder, therefore, had not yet happened.
Okay. At 12:43, Israel Schwartz passes by Dutchfield's Yard and witnesses the attack on Liz.
12:43 a.m. Israel Schwartz passes by Dutfield's Yard and witnesses the attack on Liz Stride.
At 12:44, Israel Schwartz changes sidewalks. The attacker sees him and grabs Lipsky.
12:44 a.m. Schwartz crosses to the other side of the road. The attacker sees him and yells, "Lipsky." The attacker must have shouted to his accomplice at the end of the road, "Lipsky," indicating at Schwartz using his head in an attempt to scare off this undesirable.
Israel Schwartz flees, followed for a few feet by this man.
12:45 a.m. Schwartz runs away, followed for a short distance by this man.
At 1 a.m., Mr. Demschutz wants to enter with his cart pulled by a pony.
1 a.m. Mr. Diemschutz wants to enter with his cart, but the pony refuses. We know that the murder took place between 12:45 and 1 a.m. Mr. Diemschutz, therefore, must have disturbed the killer. Let's place Liz Stride's murder on the timeline, Watson.
Somewhere between here.
12:45 to 1 a.m., the murder of Liz Stride. It took place in this very spot, as the traces of blood were very confined. We will come back to this point in a few moments to elaborate on what could have happened. Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson.
So we're gonna return here. We still have to get some stuff. Oh. Well, hold on.
This door leads to the club for Jewish socialist workers. Watson, imagine the victim laid down there on the ground. The throat, there is but one clean cut, slightly slanted downwards.
The wound to the neck is clean, starting from the right and slightly oblique and descending. Oblique. The blow was given to the middle neck. The blow was given with the right hand. The blow was given with the left hand. Oh, I don't know if that was right, though. Let's see, if it's on her right-hand side, then yeah, he has to be left-handed, or he backhanded it. There was only one wound, and it proved to be mortal. The victim had her neck wrung. There is but one superficial wound to the neck. The murderer struck the blow from below. The murderer struck the blow from above. The murderer struck the blow from his height. Blow? Oh, blow with the knife, I guess. From his height. Oh, slightly downwards, so. Well, you could do that from any height. The murderer is strong. The murderer is weak. The murderer is a lumberjack. L. Stride's killer was right-handed. L. Stride's killer was ambidextrous. L. Stride's killer was left-handed. Guess not. Ambidextrous. Guess not. Right-handed. Right hand. Okay. The murderer is strong. Yeah. L. Stride's killer is a weak man. L. Stride's killer is a strong man. Okay, this is the one that's wrong. So superficial? Not superficial. Her neck doesn't have any marks to say that it was wrong. Yeah, I didn't think so. Maybe we need more information? I don't know.
Her right hand, it is bloody, as is her wrist. Her left hand, it is closed around a bag of pastils.
I don't know what those are.
The throat, there is. The throat, there is. Her knees and dress, they are clean.
This is so different from the other murders, though. Like, there's almost nothing. Oh, I still have more stuff to look at.
Her right hand. Her knees and dress. Her knees and dress. Her left hand, it is. Her left hand, it is. The throat, there is. The ground is muddy.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, can we open up our deduction board? There we go. This is the information that I need. Let's see here. The ground is dirty. The knees and the bottom of the dress and the front are clean, but the ground is dirty. So the victim was careful. The victim didn't struggle on the ground. The victim didn't struggle on the ground. The victim was killed lying down. The victim wiped her clothes. The victim was killed upright. L. Stride had her back to the killer. L. Stride and the murderer were laying down at the moment of the mortal blow. L. Stride and the murderer were standing at the moment of the mortal blow. L. Stride's killer is taller than the victim, shorter than the victim's same height. Bloody right hand and wrist. And the carotid wasn't slit. Yeah, the victim put her hand on her throat. Went like, ah, kind of like that. The knife's blade was thin.
We have two possibilities. The first is that Liz Stride's killer and the attacker, seen by Schwartz, were one and the same man. The second is that Liz Stride meets a client. After some discussion, they head towards Dutfield's yard to do their business. As soon as they arrive, the attacker appears while his accomplice keeps watch. Schwartz's arrival dissuades the two men from lingering. They leave the area and leave Liz Stride in a tense state, but glad to have kept her client. He will be her murderer. Both hypotheses are possible, but an incongruous detail will serve to corroborate one of them. An incongruous detail that we were able to establish regarding the Hanbury Street murder. Which one would that be, Watson? Look at the victim carefully, Watson, and tell me the link between the murder of Liz Stride and those of Nichols and Chapman.
Okay.
No, that's not it. No, that's not it. No.
The bag of pastels, Holmes.
What?
A bag of pastels. Indeed, Watson. If this woman had to defend herself against an attacker, why would she have held onto this bag in her hand? It
I don't know.
didn't
What
fall
are they?
because this woman's hand tensed at the moment when she fell to the ground. Therefore, Watson, we know the killer distracted his victim's attention by making them take something out of their pockets. Why didn't he slit her throat like the others? He must have feared a struggle with this strong-willed woman. Why didn't he eviscerate her? Because Louis Diemschutz arrived.
Do you think
so
the
it
Whitechapel killer is behind this murder,
It
Holmes?
is him.
Yes, and now
Yeah.
this murder has been linked to its rightful perpetrator, it will take on deeper meaning when we have examined the facts from that night. Let's go to Mitre Square, where Catherine Eddowes was killed. And make haste, Watson, as we have another murder to commit in 40 minutes.
So we're gonna run over as quick
Here
as
we are,
possible to see
Watson.
if
Mitre
it's
Square.
possible to
It
kill
took us a
both
mere
the same
20
night.
minutes to get here. If the killer left Dutfield's yard around 1 o'clock, as we assume, he would have arrived here at around 1:20 a.m. We know that Catherine Eddowes' body was discovered at 1:44 a.m. Catherine was released from prison around 1 o'clock, but we have no information as to what she could have been doing until her death. This place has 3 possible ways out. Let's see where they lead. As a precaution, I brought an old map of the area with me. It will help us get our bearings.
Let's hurry, Holmes. This neighborhood makes me ill at ease.
Synagogue, Imperial Club? That's a club I don't want to be a part of. St. James Passage, Mitre Square, Mitre Street. Plan of Mitre Square and surrounding. Okay, we are here. Church passing. Okay. So you could leave this way.
Church Passage. It must be opposite the Imperial Club at 16 to 17 Duke Street. Let's go to the end of this lane, Watson.
Oh, don't say my name.
Hello, you must be Abraham Solomonovich, am I right?
Yes, that's me. But I know you. You brought a lad to my place to take care of a cat, and I loaned you my mask.
That's me. May I present?
Dr. Watson, of course. Delighted. And you? I have known for a few days that you are a detective by the name of Sherlock Holmes. Is that so?
You don't miss a thing, do you? It was the children who gave me away, am I right?
They didn't want to, but I gained their confidence by offering them a small comb and half a cake.
They made a good deal out of it, so I don't blame you. However, I must request, as a personal favour, that you do not reveal my identity.
You have my word. Curiosity is just killing me, as you may have guessed. Would it be breaking an oath to confide in me the nature of the investigation that you are leading?
Does this spot where we are now in Mitre Square mean anything to you?
A demon lives in this city, Mr. Holmes. These unmentionable acts degrade the human race and put the Jewish community in terrible danger.
Lots of rumours are circulating, but they are but rumours. I see you're leaving the Imperial Club. It's a stone's throw away from Mitre Square, and the 2 recent murders were most probably discussed in there. Do you know if anyone from the club saw or heard anything that night?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. That night, 3 members of our club saw a woman talking to a man at the very spot where we are standing, a few minutes before the body was found at the end of this passage.
Fantastic, Holmes.
Calm yourself, Watson. There is nothing at the moment to suggest it was the victim. Can we meet these members?
I am afraid that won't be possible. As soon as the police heard the evidence of these men, they were sworn to silence.
I understand.
But you are working for the good, and I must tell you what I know. One of the 3 men, my friend Joseph, left that night with 2 other members of the Imperial Club, Harry and another Joseph. It was around 1:35 a.m., perhaps a bit earlier. When Joseph, not my friend, but the other, the Aldgate butcher, exited, he saw a man and a woman in discussion at this very spot where we are.
These men must have been about 16 feet away from the couple.
That's about right. So Joseph, the butcher, said to the other 2, while pointing at the couple, "Look, I don't like going home alone when I see this kind of people here." My friend Joseph looked at them without noticing anything strange and didn't understand what he meant. They had the look of 2 rather unkempt people, but no more than that.
After the murder, did these 3 men tell the police what they had seen?
Not quite. Harry stated that he hadn't seen the couple. As for Joseph, the butcher, even though he was the one who commented on them and pointed them out, said that he couldn't remember anything except that the man was about 3 inches taller than the woman, who was 5 feet tall, no more. My friend Joseph, on the other hand, did his best to cooperate with the police.
5'3".
And what did your friend Joseph say? What did this man and
That's
woman
the
look like?
correct height.
The man must have been 30 years old, about 5'7", light complexion, and a fair moustache. He wore a loose, dark jacket, a grey cap, and a red scarf around his neck. But he said that he only saw him for a brief instant, and it would be impossible to recognize him.
And the woman?
He only saw her from behind. She had her hand on the man's stomach and seemed to be pushing him. He said that he remembered that she was small, was wearing a black jacket and a black bonnet. After his testimony, the police took him to see the clothing of the deceased, and Joseph said that they looked identical to those of the woman he had seen.
Well, she was
like
small,
I
5
already
foot.
said, he only glanced at the 2, as he was headed with the others in the direction of Aldgate.
One final question. The Imperial Club is a Jewish club, isn't that correct?
Indeed.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Solomonovich.
Bah, it was nothing. We must at all cost prevent this demon from striking again, and the police seem to have some difficulty in doing that. I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Holmes.
Different descriptions on the guy, but the girl was correct, it sounds
This
like.
building is the Great Synagogue of London.
Cool. Am I... Okay, I can't go that way. Sprint, my dear Watson, sprint!
Nothing of interest here.
Okay, let's go back and let's try another exit. Although it sounds like they used this one. But the description of the man wasn't right. Let's try this exit.
This dark and narrow passage leads to St. James's Place. I have no reason to go that way.
Then if not that way...
This is Mitre Street, from where Watkins, the constable who found the body, came. Well, let's find the spot where Edow's body was discovered. Nothing of interest here.
Alright, where was the body discovered? What is that? A speaker? What is that?
This dark and narrow passage leads to St. James's Place.
Oh,
Watson, we are now in the exact spot where poor Eddowes tragically ended her days.
This spot is very dark, Holmes.
That is probably why our murderer chose it. Turn on the light, Watson. Turn on the light, Watson. Now then, we will need a lantern.
I think I have one.
Now then, we will need a lantern.
I'm pretty sure I have one.
Turn on the light, Watson.
I'm like 99% sure we have one. Do we need like oil or what?
Now then, we will need a lantern. Now then, we will need a lantern.
I'm pretty sure we have one. Is that not a lantern? I thought it was a speaker at first. It's a lantern. Oh,
Take the
light it.
lantern, Watson.
You mean it's not electric? Alright, let's see here. Oh yeah, she was... Do
these objects spread out by the victim remind us of anything, Watson?
The items were meant for a woman. These items belong to the victim. The murderer searched her. God damn it. Those other options, I'm not even going to read them. There's
Part
the
of this
torn
apron
cloth.
is missing. We will follow up on that shortly. The main incision goes from the sternum all the way down to the groin. The murderer opened this abdomen as if it were an animal carcass. A kidney was removed. The uterus was removed. The head is turned towards the left. The murderer must have been on the right side of his victim. Let's look at her from the front.
Okay. This couldn't look any
The
worse.
eyelids were cut off.
Why?
The nose was cut.
Why?
The cheeks were slashed to make them thinner. The cheeks were slashed to make them thinner. There is but one wound, Watson. It goes from the left side and descends in a slight oblique towards the right side. The cheeks were slashed to make... The eyelids were cut off.
Yeah, that's like... This is so gross. Can we talk about the guts?
The eyelids were cut off. There is but one wound. The cheeks were slashed to make them... There is but one wound, Watson. These intestines were pulled out altogether to grant access to the abdomen.
Okay.
A thimble is located right beside one of the victim's hands, just like Chapman's sachet of pills and Stride's pastils.
She probably got it out, or he tried to get her to get it out, so... Something with that. That was his way of getting her to...
The main incision goes from the sternum. A kidney was removed. The uterus was removed.
That was his way of getting her to be distracted. Okay, did I get everything? Please tell me I've gotten everything. I don't want to look at this anymore. I think we got everything. Oh, one more thing.
The inside of the thighs is clean. Once again, there were no sexual relations between the victim and her murderer.
My goodness, Holmes, it was a slaughter.
Understand, Watson, that our killer had neither the time nor the conditions to bother with the niceties. He had no more than 7 or 8 minutes at most to kill the woman, open her up, and all the while in total darkness.
Holmes,
How do you not
it's
cut
a
his
woman,
fingers?
a poor victim you're talking about.
Consider all the time this man lost and the risks that he actually took by cutting the victim's face and the lower abdomen in around 20 precise spots, especially the lungs and the liver. These attacks, which I considered gratuitous, are in fact nothing of the sort and have as much sense as the removal of the organs. Watson, we must now consult our timeline. We began in Dutfield's yard, but this time we will try to recreate the actions of certain people, in this case, those of the two policemen.
At 1:30, PC Watkins enters Mitres Square. 1:30.
1:30 a.m. PC Watkins didn't see the corpse while on his rounds. If PC Watkins did his rounds properly, and there is no reason to doubt this was the case, as he discovered the corpse a quarter of an hour later, the murder hadn't yet taken place, and there was no one in Mitre Square, unless they were hidden among the shadows. Enter Mitre Square via Mitre Street, Watson, and stop and try to see me with the lantern. I will be where poor Edow's corpse was.
I see you. I totally see you.
Enter Mitre Square via Mitre Street, Watson, and stop.
Mitre Okay, Mitre Square. Where am I now? I'm entering through Mitre Street. Pretty obvious. This way? Church Passage? St. James Passage? Which... Hey, yo, which way am I supposed to go? Down here? Hello? Goodbye.
I have no reason to go that way.
Okay,
I have no reason to go that way.
Got it. Got it. Okay. That's...
I see you, Holmes.
Perfect, Watson. Let's look at our timeline, Watson.
The murder hadn't taken place at 1:30. Yeah.
Very good, Watson. Thus we can categorically state that the murder had not yet occurred at 1:30.
At 1:35, a man and woman are in discussion at the entrance of the church passage.
At 1:35 a.m., a man and a woman are arguing at the entrance of church passage. The man came from Aldgate.
PC Harvey arrives in the square at 1:42.
1:42 a.m., PC Harvey arrives in Mitre Square. It should be noted, Watson, that the constable didn't enter Mitre Square. He could not have seen the corpse lying on the ground. But would he have been able to see a man sitting or standing? Go to the church passage entrance, then come back and try to see me while holding your lantern. I will stay at the spot where the victim was discovered.
Okay, church passage. Wait, no. Go to... This is the church. No, this was the church passage. Okay. No, that's St. James Passage. Was this the church passage? I think this is the church passage. Okay.
I see you, Holmes.
You had to proceed into the square in order to see me, something Harvey didn't do. It is possible that the killer was still there. 1:42 a.m. PC Harvey arrives at Mitre Square, but does not go in. The murderer may well have still been there.
At 1:44, the body was discovered.
1:44 a.m. The body is discovered. Let's put the murder of poor Eddowes on the timeline, Watson.
Right here.
1:35 and 1:42 a.m. The murder would appear to have taken place between these times, that is to say, within 7 minutes.
Agreed, Holmes. But does this really prove that our killer had the time to perpetrate these two murders?
Let's look at our timeline, Watson.
Sherlock and Watson took 20 minutes.
There, Watson. We are now certain that the murderer really had the time to commit these two murders.
Incredible!
Let's look at our deduction board, Watson.
Okay, let's do that next time. Ooh, that was a lot of information. And that was really gross too. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to play some more. I'm getting a little bit invested and a little grossed out. I'll see you guys in the next video though. Bye bye!